Call the meeting to order at 7:07 PM. Can you take the roll, please?
I apologize because I forgot my glasses, so this should be fun. Good thing it's the same 5 names over and over. Mr. Fischel,
Here.
Mr. Keeney,
Here.
Mrs. Krasnensky,
Here.
Mrs. Grassi,
Here.
and Ms. Brewster.
Here.
Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome all students, staff, parents, and interested community members to tonight's Board of Education meeting. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Board of Education held in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is time for public comment during the meeting in the public participation section on the agenda. Approval of minutes.
Excuse me, can
Yep.
I make a motion to amend the agenda to add an item under, I guess, board business?
At the end.
Yes, please.
Board of Education update.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I don't know if there was a board business section.
There
but we-
is.
There is.
There is.
Section 15 is the Board of Education.
Board of Education business. We have stuff in there, but we can add it there.
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be in section 15, Board of Education business. And, okay, go.
I would like to make a resolution authorizing the installment payment or lease purchase financing in the form of one or more series of installment payment obligations, lease purchase obligations, or certificates of participation issued as tax-exempt obligations, providing for the acquisition, construction, equipping, and improving of real and/or personal property for school district purposes, including one or more installment payment agreements, ground leases, lease purchase agreements, and/or trust indentures and matters related thereto. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Krasnensky. I believe that we will be talking about this further during the treasurer's report, but I'll pass that out now so that we can have that for further discussion. Is any discussion on that? And if not, can we call the roll?
And for clarification, the role is just to amend and put it on the agenda. It is not approving or disapproving. Ms. Krasnensky,
Aye.
Mr. Fischel,
Aye.
Mr. Keeney,
Nay.
Ms. Brewster,
Aye.
Mrs. Grassi.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1.
Thank you.
Okay, section 2, approval of minutes. The motion to approve the minutes as attached. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Can you call the roll?
Mrs. Grassi,
Aye.
Ms. Brewster,
Aye.
Mr. Fischel,
Aye.
Mr. Keeney,
Aye.
Mrs. Krasnensky.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Special reports.
There are no special reports tonight because we started at 7. So we're going to skip that for tonight. I do have a superintendent's report, but nothing in special reports.
How was the play?
I did not see it. I was going to see it tomorrow.
I
Ms.
attended.
Brewster and Mr. Keeney, I think, were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a super job.
They always
really
do.
did.
Right. Very good. And I always miss the last 10
Yeah.
or 15 minutes, which is hard to do. But
Okay.
great job, and also a wonderful job on the dinner I was sitting among a lot of the seniors in our community, and they were just so complimentary of the students and how they just waited on them hand and foot. It was really nice. And they said thank you and enjoyed the experience. So, and it was packed. They had to spill over into the next room.
They did.
So, but the department did an excellent job.
Okay, so that's our special report. Old business, anyone? Hearing none. New business? Hearing none. Buildings and grounds and superintendent's business advisory council liaison. We had a buildings and grounds meeting yesterday, and Rich Arlesic shared with us that the health department school reviews were going on. A few small issues, nothing major. Items are being corrected. Daily monitoring of heating systems continues as the weather continues its normal fluctuation of cold to warm, or I would say vice versa, either way. First snowfall occurred November 10th and 11th. Maintenance used that as a spring training exercise. We are ready for the real snow to come. A plethora of roof leaks throughout the district were attended to. Unfortunately, a couple of those were on our newer buildings, but those had been attended to and hopefully are done. We have had other roof leaks on the older buildings, the older roofs, and so far they're fixed, so we'll see. Monday, 27th, Company Vasco was out to repair the turf from the underground water leak and to do a full service to the turf. 6 repairs were made throughout the playing surface. Field received a deep grooming and sanitizing. The field still holding at fair to good. Pretty impressive for the amount of usage the field gets, and the expectation is 2 to 3 years of remaining life. Trenching was completed this week, and the wire run for the new softball scoreboard. And purchase order on Thursday's board agenda today. In what we had previously talked about, approved the purchase order for $89,000 and splitting it between 2 vendors to fix Parkside and Riverview heat exchangers. Since those buildings were built, we've had problems with the heat exchangers, and so far it looks like what we're going to get is yearly care and maintenance with Roberts Mechanical with Ethernet monitoring. So they think if they monitor it and clean it up with the water and other dust and other things that are in there, they think they can prevent this from happening again. And supposedly we're going to get from Roberts in changing the 2 heat exchangers with some other parts, they are looking at guaranteeing 20 years of life. And so I had asked Rich to talk with Dan McIntyre, our attorney, to maybe, Dan, clean up, maybe include some language that would make that have a little bit more teeth.
Yes.
Has he reached out to you yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'll catch them tonight.
Yeah, so if you guys could talk, and then, I mean, they're offering 20 years, right? But we want to make sure we can have it if we need it.
Understood.
Okay.
And are we pursuing anything with the former company in recovery?
We've discussed it internally. I don't think we're prepared to bring anything to the board as of yet.
Okay,
but we will.
but it's still in the works, okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then I was out of town hiking the Grand Canyon, so.
How'd that go?
So it was wonderful. And I cut a half hour off my time, what do you
Nice.
think? So Dr. Rotino will handle the business advisory.
Business advisory, we continue to work in our committees, and I have part of that in my update, sharing some of the great work that our business advisory for career planning is doing with Lake County. I have the opportunity to share that. Programming from 2nd grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, and then a couple high school programming as well. So it was another great meeting with great business advisory council, and a lot of great things that come out of it. And I know I used a lot of greats there, but it really truly is one of the nice things that happens at Riverside, from the portrait of Riverside Beaver that started to really, we're going to do a, it's not a touch a truck, I forget what you call it. Check out the truck. As a
Touch a truck.
that's what they typically
Stop saying that.
but an event to that type to introduce our youngest students to different career fields, to a true career finding pathway, to some field trips and things like that around Lake County for the experiences and business operations that are here. So it's really exciting things going on in Dr. Malacker's swan song, but it's going to be great. She's leaving a legacy of career planning that's top notch in Lake County.
Thank you for that. Curriculum and programming.
Okay. The Curriculum and Programs Committee met on November 14th. The staff had a very productive professional development meetings that occurred over Monday and Tuesday of November 3rd and 4th. Dr. Malacher stated there was a legal update for the staff by our school board attorney, Mr. Dan McIntyre, and it was well received. There was training on the new CPM math and benchmark reading programs. Also, technology, they further explored the technology and training associated with Magic School, which is a program we purchased for the district, and which is an AI program for staff. And grades 6 through 12 trained on Schooling, which is another online program. Is that right?
Schoolings,
Yeah.
there was some schooling training.
Okay. All right, so on Tuesday of that two-day training, the staff met in their respective grade and department level teams with a focus on personalized learning. Teachers will continue to meet together over the coming months in their teams to do check-ins. Benchmark data will also be examined. The MTSS process, which is an intervention tool of identifying students needing additional help, will continue in the elementary and middle school, and it is just being explored further into the high school, which is a little bit more of a challenge given the way they are arranged by subject areas and departments. Cursive writing was a topic. Over the course of the last 2 years, I've had many inquiries from parents and even grandparents about, do we teach cursive writing in the district? So I asked the question. And it is taught at second grade with the Zahner Bloser program. It's a workbook that the kids, get to practice. As there is no requirement to teach cursive at third grade, mastery is not expected. So maybe, people are under the impression that, well, they had it, so they should know it and use it all the time. When you're teaching it to a second grader, it can be a challenge developmentally, especially in the beginning of second grade. A lot of districts wait till second semester for that. So, basically there are staff members who continue to give students opportunities in third grade to practice cursive. There is also a Foundations Phonics program that we use that does have some cursive practice in there, and also there's practice pages in Benchmark, correct? Which is another program that we're using this year. Any parent or grandparent or community member should follow up with their classroom teacher if you feel more time should be spent on instructing children in cursive writing, or that you want that practice for your child and can reinforce it at home. And I'm sure that there would be materials available, if someone asked their teacher. Okay. And then our Executive Director of Student Services, Mrs. Camille Ritt, and I don't know if everyone's met her, but she's new this year, but she's not new to the field. She came from Willoughby Eastlake and oversaw, quite a few programs, especially preschool. But she reported that the special education department, that we have here, every year they get rated by the state. And they achieved a standing of meets requirements. That's the best you can do, is Dr. Rotino said. You met it, you're good. But and it was a rating of 3.75, but then there's some subcategories and things, but it ranges from 3.75 to 4. This score was highly desirable as our program is compliant with federal expectations, and well done to our special ed staff. There's just so much to juggle in a program like that to meet all the specific needs of the students. So thank you for everything.
I know we joke about meets being it, but I will tell you that our special ed staff works really hard to earn that, and all of the compliance that goes into it. And not just special ed staff, I mean, it is our entire teaching staff.
Yeah.
So I think that is such a, it's such a key, and it's something that we should be proud of. I don't think we're gonna hang a banner that says meats anywhere, but I think it's something that honestly we need to celebrate, because it's a huge a testament to the effort that goes on every day in the classrooms.
Right, for sure. And there is a lot of coordination between the special ed department and regular ed staff, because you have to work together to make or help that child become successful. Mrs. Ritt also followed up with the high school construction teacher, Mr. Shook, and regarding some projects that the high school students could design and build for the new preschool playground equipment at Riverview. And originally we came up with some, just going on the internet, finding some pictures of cute little things for, you probably can't see it, but cute little things that could be on there that would be, where kids would have fun playing. But when you try to buy these things, they're $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for just this like little farmer's market stand. That would be one example. And so it gives our kids the opportunity to design it, build it, and contribute to putting that on the playground. And so Mr. Shook was pretty excited about that because he said that he had some students in the program that were looking for something, and they're going to do a presentation on what they come up with and pitch it to us. So I thought that would be great. So thank you for following through with that. And then we also talked about subject acceleration. Typically at the elementary level, let's just say Buckeye Melridge, their last grade level is 4th. So if they are in 4th grade but they're taking 5th grade math, there's nowhere for them to go. And it's my understanding at Riverview and Parkside, if they're in 5th grade there taking 6th grade math, then they have had the opportunity on a case-by-case basis to come over to Lamuth so that they can have that instruction. And so we're looking at that. There are some policies that we currently have on the books. We want to make sure we're up to date on those, but we do want to make sure we're accommodating these students and making sure that we're meeting their needs. And so we do have a meeting on December 4th at 7:30, and we'll review those, and I asked our attorney to come as well. And if parents have any questions, certainly you can reach out to Dr. Malakar. We also have a gifted coordinator in the district, and in order to be an accelerated program, they probably had a meeting with a team of people, including our gifted coordinator, to be accelerated that way. If you are accelerated in reading, that's just accommodated because there's different levels of reading within any classroom, and that's more easily accommodated that way. All right, so our next meeting will be held in January once new dates are set by the board.
Just to clarify, that December 4th meeting is a policy meeting, not a curriculum meeting.
Yeah.
So
December 4th is the
you said we're gonna
policy
have- there's a
meeting,
policy meeting. I
and
don't
the
want people to
next,
think we're not having a curriculum
right.
meeting until January.
The next programs meeting will be sometime in January of 26. There will be no December meeting. Okay. Thank you. And then, let's see, we had the strategic plan liaison. We said we're going to wait until the beginning of the year. We might want to revisit our strategic plan.
We are pretty much closing it out. So most of the bench load we've hit.
Yeah.
We've done some good work. So.
Okay. So that's it for me.
When was the last time we did the strategic plan? Like, how old is it now?
It's 4 years old now. It's time for a refresh.
Yeah, okay.
Policy Committee alumni.
We have policy on today's agenda for first read. Most of it is due to updates and regs or just corrections in the policies. We also have a policy meeting on December 4th to review those policies and discuss another one that's been brought to the table. And then Alumni Association met on November 18th, and some of the discussion is around just closing out the year, like the golf outing, the Alumni Hall of Fame dinner, things like that, and thinking about the next thing that'll come up is the scholarships. So if you are a Riverside grad and have a Riverside student that is a senior, I'd keep your eyes out for that because it's an awesome opportunity to get a scholarship, and that information will start to be sent out here, and great opportunity. And I think that was it, covered at the Alumni Association.
So I'd like to
And
add,
one question I
Yeah, go
had
ahead.
about the policy. If I just always think it's a good idea to have our attorney look it over. I don't know if you got a chance to look over these. But, there's sometimes suggestions, especially when, across districts, there might be something we're missing. It could be a word, whatever.
These are all updates to new recent language, basically done by Neola, which are pretty standard boilerplate. I took our current choices and put them into the new ones for the
Okay.
first read. If we have any questions specifically, we will talk about them in the policy committee, then they'll go on for a second first read.
Okay.
So they have to be good as is, and then at the policy committee, we review them, and then they go to again. So they
Okay,
go on for a
so
second.
you'll get a chance to read them
Yes.
between first and second.
Of
All
course.
right, thank you so much.
and I'd like to add to that, often the scholarships are available not only from the Alumni Association, but from other places. Very few kids apply for them. So please help and encourage kids to apply for those. Okay, thank you for that. Booster?
Sure, I'm going to make a suggestion that anybody who is involved or has kids that are involved in boosters, in athletics, in any other extracurricular activities, to make sure that you are on their social media pages. They are posting all of their information on social media. Please make sure that you get on there. And also with your PTO groups, they're also on social media, so make sure that you connect with them, their Facebook pages. The district will post things on our Facebook page when we have meal deals, so make sure that if you don't want to cook, you check our Facebook page for all those listings. Those are always really helpful. And also check our district calendar, because our schools have been very good about putting their events onto the school calendars this year, so make sure that if you need to know about things that are going on in your individual schools, to please make sure that you check those pages. That's all I have for now.
Okay, and update from the superintendent.
All right, a lot going on, and a lot of exciting things as always in these months. First of all, really excited to the progress of CTE as you drove by. It's lit up. Really big space, great looking space. I would suggest that maybe next week, not next week, next month during our regular board meeting, we maybe go and do a mobile tour of CTE and walk through. It'll be a spot where I think we can walk through it and walk through the spaces that are there, and it'll be near completion. It is very exciting to see. We have the large construction space classroom, the manufacturing space classroom, which is the bottom left there, and then the actual student classroom with the storage shelves that are about 20 feet tall. But that's extra long-term storage. Great hallway, really well designed in terms of multi-purpose space, going in, serving as our night doors for nighttime events. I was even talking to the seniors tonight at the senior dinner, and I said, when you come here in the springtime, you're going to come in through these doors right here, and you have to walk through the hallways. Like, oh, that's such a great idea. This is going to be great. So just to have that open, to have that accessible as a nighttime entrance, and really kind of changing the accessibility and increased accessibility to our common areas is a fantastic thing for the community. And then a bit of also being able to secure it into that area is going to be a great thing as well. So that's CTE. Riverview is moving too. Riverview is it's on schedule. Still, it's on schedule, and I think on budget as well. We had a meeting this morning, and they're both kind of there. It's set to open in the beginning of first quarter next year. They're kind of finishing up some flooring along the way. We have some classrooms that are really developing in there. The different classrooms, they're waiting on the windows, and I think some of the heat part. So it doesn't look as finished as CTE, because CTE is all the windows in there, but it is just as far, and they have actually blocked the windows off so we don't get rain inside the space until the windows get installed. So those windows are coming in early next, December, which is, wow, it's all 2 weeks. So they'll be here soon, and then that space will be ready to open as well. November 11th was Veterans Day, and thank you to all who served. Our schools, we all celebrate veterans. We honor our districts with a breakfast, lunch, and entertainment. We have a number of veterans who show up And we have a number of veterans who show up to more than one event. Some of them get 2-3 meals out of the deal. It's a great opportunity, and they've earned it. So they can have as many as they can keep coming. It's our kids kind of really get to see, and thank our veterans as they should on that day as well. The next day on the 12th, I had the opportunity to present with all of the local Eastern State County superintendents to present about workforce development to the Lake County Chamber of Commerce. We each had about 5 minutes because alphabetically we're last. I was the last to go, which wasn't necessarily the most ideal, but it was a great day. It was a great presentation. We got to share all the great things happening at Riverside and really truly how we are working to introduce workforce development for every student so that when every student graduates, they have a successful path in life. Really, really excited about this next one. This year, we had an opportunity on the 12th as well. The 12th was a really busy day. We had an opportunity to congratulate our first ever AP Capstone Diploma recipients. They will be graduating this year. This is an internationally recognized award from the College Board given to students who complete AP Seminar, which is a sophomore level class, AP Research, which is a junior level class, and then they earn a score of 3 or more on 4 additional AP exams.
Wow.
That's a lot. Those are really, really smart kids, and we had, for the first time ever, we are going to walk and present 8 students with that AP Capstone Diploma, and congratulations to them all. And it's really exciting to see what the future brings with those students. So again, just we kind of took some time and fed them and said congratulations and takes time to enjoy it. When you talked about what they're doing, one young lady was going to triple major.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was literally ridiculous.
So not in decision making.
Yeah.
Another was going into political science. One was going to be an attorney.
One was going to be a teacher.
One was going to be a teacher.
Made
So
my heart
that
happy.
one we gave her our card and said, "Since you graduate, come back."
Yeah, come back. Yes.
One was going into engineering. She didn't know which kind, but they were really high up there. Either a rocket scientist or a bioengineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and the one thing about the teacher, usually we don't get any applicants to the Lake County Retired Teachers Association. They give like $1,500 minimum, but we've not had a Riverside applicant.
We'll send her your way.
Now we need to make sure, please.
She may not have to pay for college right now.
That's true. I mean, it's always
Yeah.
some other school
Yeah,
district.
she may be okay.
If
So.
you need information, we're just starting that committee right now.
Okay.
Another day of celebration is congratulations to Clara Granchi, senior, for signing her national letter of intent to continue her academic and softball career at Oakland University in Michigan. Clara is receiving a full ride scholarship to the Division I school.
Can you back up one
Also,
slide?
you'll
Can we
notice
point
Clara
out? Yeah.
is-
We have multiple pictures
Had a
of
big
Clara.
day that day because she,
Yes.
with an AP Capstone Diploma,
Yeah.
and then went and signed her national letter of intent to continue at Oakland. So just a big day and an awesome day. Tonight look, that's how real time these are. The pictures in tonight was Senior Citizen Night, Appreciation Night. We welcomed nearly 200 seniors to our Appreciation Night. They had a free meal. The service, I said any complaints about the service? Absolutely none. Loved it, loved the food, nothing but great things. And then they got to go see the free performance of the Fall Play, which is The Odd Couple, the female version of it. And the parts I went in to see, it was pretty funny. So tomorrow night at 7:30 or Saturday night at 7:30, there are still tickets available, well worth your time to come out and check out the play. And our kids, really, our theater department is second to none. One of the things that we've been doing, this is our 3rd year, is a district-wide Community Kindness Day. Next week on 11/25, all of our schools are participating with local nonprofits and do different projects throughout the community. Something we're really excited about giving back. So Buckeye is doing a sock collection for Riverside, or for Sub-Zero Mission. And they're kind of running that sock drive, and I think we're going to do something with that. Melridge has the Lake County Humane Society, so the animal items and money collection. Parkside's doing St. Gabe's Food Pantry. They're collecting non-perishable food items. Riverview's doing a school fundraiser for Sleep in Heavenly Peace, and I believe they make beds for And I know they make beds. It's a neat project, local too. Lamuth is doing their student council inquirer visiting Concord Village Skilled Nursing and Rehab. That was really special for me. Last year, my dad was in there for a while. I got to see our students with him. So really kind of a neat thing, and they just do a great job working with those seniors there. And I know that they were very appreciative and enough to have them back. The campus, we have student groups volunteering at United Way, Salvation Army, Project Hope, the Hope Chest, and Sub-Zero Mission, kind of going out throughout. And then our Latchkey even wanted to get involved. So Latchkey are collecting socks and winter items for Project Hope. December's a busy month, still going. Halls of Holly, Saturday, December 13th is from 12 to 3. It's amazing. Our side leadership program puts on a family-friendly themed event hosted by them. I even believe the big guy shows up for a little bit. And it's amazing. And they go through all kinds of holiday events that really put you in the spirit at that time. And our students enjoy working with younger students and giving back. Also at the same date, which is a really great time, means our parking lot's going to be packed, is our Holiday Market Craft Show put on by National Honor Society. Local vendors stop by and present all different kinds of wares in the gym. It's a great opportunity to get some early Christmas shopping done as well. So those are some dates to see, and that concludes my report. And I know Dr. Thompson has a lot.
And I heard some of the seniors asking about when this was. So if there's some other way to get it out, I know that they did receive some kind of email about their tickets.
Sure.
So maybe
Yep.
through that avenue.
We can send that out to our community.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, down. Yep.
Well, hello all. I know that the word is out.
I think we have to go through the finance and audit chairs first.
Oh, my bad. See,
Those glasses, you're gonna have to.
See, yeah.
can't read.
Finance, Audit, and Personnel Committee.
Thank you.
Okay, the committee met on November 13th. We had a short superintendent report, just a little bit of update on the health insurance. He talked about some agenda items which are on the agenda now. Personnel updates, there was really nothing new there. It's just always ongoing. Replacement of finance department personnel. They hired an internal candidate and are going to reboot the finance department with some new job descriptions and what have you. And the last was finance questions, and there was no questions. I would like to say that over the weekend I attended the Ohio School Board Association's convention in Columbus along with some other board members and administration. And they always put on a real good program, a lot of good learning sessions. And one that I did attend was called AI in K-12 education. And this was put on by schools out in Henry County by Napoleon in northwestern Ohio. And I found out as they were into it that they were using the Magic School AI program, which as Denise mentioned earlier, we already have that. And how they've used it, they've had it for about 3 years. And they've been able to utilize it in many different aspects of, the school for the kids, the teachers in setting up their presentations, CTE categories. They can improve communication throughout the district, handle with streamlining maintenance. And one thing that they did, program has not been around a long time, so they didn't, you got to get it to market with what you have. Well, the school had some other requirements that would really help them better serve them, so they approached them and they were very willing to work with the district to customize another sub-app that they have in their categories, and that's been working super well for them. With all of this, there's some real opportunities for increased efficiency across everything. But what it's going to take is some real intelligent input and really find out where do you want to get your efficiencies throughout the district. So they said within the next 5 years, you're going to see a total change in the education industry. So just, we have the tool already. It's just a matter of applying that tool to create better efficiency, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you for that. Update from the treasurer.
So as I was about to state previously, I know there was a posting that went out that said that I would be presenting tonight. I have to thank you all for showing up. I mean, I did not expect a crowd like that, but if you have any questions, you just hold on to them because there's way too many of you. So what I'm going to cover first is just where we are fiscally in our general fund. So we're actually in really solid shape, and I really want our staff to understand and know, yes, we talk about being levy imminent, and we are levy imminent, and that's because of House Bill, somebody help me, 920, thank you, House Bill 920, freezing our revenue in perpetuity. Eventually that axis will cross. It is crossing. Most unfortunately, we just had a $1.3 million hit that we were not anticipating that came at the county level. So that will change our forecast even more. But regardless, the district sincerely has been very fiscally responsible, has run a really tight ship. And for that reason is why in the state of Ohio, the average is every 4.5 years a district's on the ballot for new money. We're going to be pushing 10 or 11 years, hopefully, before we hit that number. So, it's inevitable. You can't not go to your community. That's the way the system is structured. But to stretch it out that long says an awful lot about the school board, about the administration, and about the staff making sacrifices to make that happen. So again, at that's our cash balance, $36 million. General fund at $26 million. That's stable, and we're still tracking a little bit above my original forecast. Our investments still keep yielding, thank goodness, very well. And when they yield, obviously we get more money in our general fund, and that's part of the reason that we're seeing more revenue than anticipated. We're on target for revenue and expenditure so far. You can see that we did our bank reconciliation. It is to the penny. And you can see there where the majority of our money sits. Star, Ohio, it's got a little over $22 million. Red Tree, which is through U.S. Bank, about $12.5 million. Huntington, $2.1 million. So those investments where we're putting our funds are doing very well. And then general fund, we're sitting at that 26 million with 19 million, almost 20 million still unencumbered, meaning no PO written against it at this point. Food service continues to do so well here. So maybe we need to take a page out of their book and figure out how they're doing that. But our food service, and that's not true, by the way, of many school districts. Most school districts' food service is a dog financially, but here it's not. I don't know what they do, but they're doing great things. Our permanent improvement levy still stays steady. I'm going to go into more depth on that in just a minute. All funds, our encumbrances, and our unencumbered balance. So we're sitting, again, as we're about getting close to halfway through the year, in a pretty solid position. Total appropriations, meaning how much did we say we were going to possibly spend? $73 million, and so far we spent about $31 million. So that gives us a nice chunk, still sitting where we are right now, and those major expenditures are aligning with our forecast, our original forecast. Year-to-date estimates, $56 million, collected, $25 million. And where do you suppose the majority of our money comes from? How is Riverside Schools funded?
Taxes.
Well, specifically, what taxes? That's right. So we are property tax dependent. Some school districts get a lot of money from the state or feds, we don't. According to the state, we're rich, and that's why. Real estate taxes, you can see that what they've collected so far, our state foundation, look at the difference between real estate taxes and state foundation. Pretty shocking. Where does our money go? It's no surprise, it goes into personnel and benefits. When we hit the end of the year, it's going to be about 84% are in those two areas. Purchase services, 2.4 million, and our supplies, not even $1 million to date. So when you talk about making reductions and you don't, everybody wants us to reduce, and I understand that. I do understand that. But also, nobody wants us to do anything that negatively impacts kids and learning, which I totally understand that. So that leaves 16% of the budget to move on, of which most of it is beyond our control. Fuel, repairs, etc., electricity, on and on. So general fund summary, year to date at 25 million, expenditures at 19 million. We have a net surplus, obviously. We're projecting an ending cash balance of 26 million. Unreserved fund balance is almost 20 million. And structurally, we are balanced. So I think the key takeaways here remain steady from our last month. Our revenues and expenditures are balanced. We have good liquidity and fund balance. Our investments are still producing solid returns. All of our funds are reconciled. And at this point, I have no fiscal concerns to share. I do have a PI update that I want to cover to give you some understanding of what we're looking at from that perspective. So I had some questions that were submitted. I thought I would just answer them. So you heard a resolution put on the agenda. The board to date has passed a resolution to do roughly $12 million in work, renovations, expansion at Buckeye Elementary, and potentially, some at Millridge, potentially. But it won't do everything. And when we endeavored upon that, that was known that not everything could be done. So the question is, if we took out a little bit more, could we do the whole building and wrap it up and be done with it? Which I support, because when you take out an issuance, it's not free to take out the issuance. You got to pay fees and got to pay your municipal advisors, etc., etc. So I was asked, well, what would $15 million look like? So if we took out 12.5, so in this particular scenario, we took out, this projection is based on 12.5 million in COPS, certificates of participation. What is that? That's basically a low interest loan based on using your property as collateral. That's what it is. So you don't pay your bill, just like your house. They foreclose on you, could take your school building. 2.5 million in TANs, that's tax anticipation notes, and those are just basically, it's like getting your paycheck a little bit early. So to equal these payments out over this time frame, because the TANs can only go for 10 years and the COPS for 30, we're trying to keep it so it's structured in a way that keeps our payments steady over the course of that time. So that first graph you're looking at shows you year 26 through year 2035. The light blue represents the money that would go to the TANs, and the blue and the yellow rather signifies or shows what would be going to pay the debt issuance on the on the COPS. Then then in 2036, the TANs is paid off, and we shift all of our money onto the COPS to get that paid off. So it the payment, I'll show you in just a second here. The payment doesn't change much, but, so the debt service on the COPS for the first 10 years is $624,000 a year. And the average debt after that, 2036 to 2055, is $991. Now, drop down though to the TANs, you can see we have $330,000 on the TANs. So put it all together, what's it look like? Look at that middle column where it says, or excuse me, the end column. So in 26 through 2035, it's $955,000 a year. The TANs will fall off, drop to the bottom one. 2036 to 2055, we're at 991. So that's roughly about a third, just a little bit less than a third of our PI levy going towards debt. Is that unusual? No. It's pretty common. It's a way to do some projects that you need to get done. Not every school district does it. Not every school district has a PI levy, but it's not uncommon. I've been part of COPS deals at 2 different districts before coming here. I didn't bring that idea here. It was already in the works when I got here. So what is the impact on the PI levy? The PI levy is the permanent improvement levy that brings in roughly after interest about $3 million a year. So when I mean by assumptions, this is all that's built into this 10-year projection. Those obligations to pay the debt are in there. It still has 4 buses to purchase each year. I don't suspect that we need 4 buses per year. So that might be something we can work with, but I also want to be conservative, because if you get too far behind in your bus purchases, it's really hard to catch up again. So we have to massage that the right way, but we've been doing bus undercoating. We'll continue to do bus undercoating. You'll see it on the agenda tonight. I think it's a great way to stretch out the life of the buses. Doesn't make them last forever, but just like your car, if you rust-proof it, it lasts a lot longer than if you don't. And one of the most common ways the state troopers are the ones that inspect the buses each year, one of the main reasons they knock buses out is from rust on the undercarriage. So I think it will most definitely help. Over the course of time, we'll know to what degree. But I do think there's room to make movement on our PI levy by simply looking at our bus rotation. We need a couple new vehicles, so we're purchasing those. Those are in the forecast. All of our historical spends are in there. Because of that property tax change that the county just made, $60,000 of that impacts our PI levy. So I reduced our PI levy by that as well. I assumed 3% inflation on expenditures, went super conservative on revenues, and kept it at 1%. That's probably low, but I'd rather be low than miss. So the beginning cash balance to reconcile with fiscal year 25 has been done. That's closed, and this reflects all of our yearly expenditures. So the board, you have both sheets itemized all the way across. I purposely made the font super small so you couldn't read it. No, that's not true. But there's a lot of numbers that fit on that paper. But these are what I think matter most. If you understand this, you got a pretty good idea of where we are. So from fiscal year 12 to 21, that cash balance in the account would fluctuate from anywhere from $650,000 to $2.1 million. Didn't grow much. Then in 22 through 25, we saw a sharp increase because there was money dumped into the PI levy, and that was around $9 million within the account in fiscal year 25. Then in 26, still elevated, then a significant drop comes in fiscal year 27, because fiscal year 27 is when those debt repayments would start, assuming the board makes the resolution to move forward with the Buckeye project. The reason you'll see a sharp decrease in how much money's in the PI from 25 with 9 million is because that money was used for no debt was taken out to do Riverside. Riverview.
And the CTE.
And the CTE. So those dollars went to construct, along with an incredible grant that Dr. Malacher got for us.
Yeah. So Dr. Malacher got $2.5 million grant, so the cash added to that was about 1.5 or so.
Yeah.
So the majority was right there.
Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity. And, you know, a lot of people look at her and say, oh, she's beautiful, she can't be that smart. Oh,
And
that's
funny.
not true.
And funny.
It's not-
They also
that's not
say I'm
true.
funny.
Funny too.
Yes.
Oh,
To
and
be
funny.
Thank you.
And very quiet.
Yes, all of the above.
And
Like
this-
an echo chamber on
It is, I know, this is great.
what you'll see from 28 to 36 is those balances are going to flatten, and they'll be on a downward trend, with some of those years are projecting lower balances depending on what we're budgeting in the PI account. But
PI grows with new construction, correct?
yes, it grows, and so
Yeah,
there's,
so you'll get some substantial money into the PI, starting in about 5 or 6 years of the casement development.
And once the Ritz, well, we'll get some too with the
From the
Ritz.
TIF,
From the new ones in Concord.
but yeah, look,
We'll get-
very little.
We'll get some for that, and once those fall off though.
And so we'll start to improve a little bit in the PI as houses are completed and people start paying taxes on those. Of course, that's a much smaller percentage coming into the PI. And again, if you want to refer back to the larger number of homes, the casement development, Crayhawk Landing, Harborview Crossing. So anyway, you put all those together and you're really going to start to see general fund improvement in tax income. It's going to be about 5 or 6 years out until you start to hit $1 million and $2 million of revenue coming in, and then that'll keep growing as the construction is completed, which is probably about a 12-year cycle for that construction.
I also believe, and I know that we haven't necessarily discussed this at the table, because it hasn't been presented to us formally, Dr. Thompson or myself, but the county is working on some alternates as well, solutions to school funding, and trying to develop some as well. So as we get that information, I will share it with the board as soon as we get it, because I know that they do feel a little remorse from the piggybacks, so they're trying to look for different ways to make it right and different opportunities to more efficiently fund the way that we do schools at a county level. So I think we're going to have some discussions about that instead of, I know that Commissioner Beveridge thinks that may be an easier ask countywide than in the individual districts. So kind of coming together. So as I get that, I'll update you.
So
Okay.
the figure that we have right now on the homestead reduction, is that a guesstimate?
It is.
Yeah,
okay.
because they said it was going to take a long time to.
So they have to,
These are
so the
rough
homestead has to have an application process for that. The owner occupied is pretty easy. They know what that is. It's basically another 1.5% of a rollback. It's homestead, which is an individual application that needs to be filed for all of them, and there are a number of them.
And it's not automatic, you
It
have
is
to
not.
file for it.
You do, and you don't, and there was a time when you automatically qualified, and if you may have come off of that, and you just say, I continue to qualify, but you have to reapply.
Yeah.
And you may not want, some people may not want to do that because they may not qualify this time.
Okay, and on the PI, as far as allowable expenditures, I see floor scrubbers, but then I also see the musical instrument replacements, which we voted on. But Chromebooks, is that something that's, yeah,
what can come out of a PI is something that has a useful life of 5 years or more. So that is the statutory requirement for an expenditure from the PI levy. So we're going to take a hard look at all of those as we we're going to do a very formal budgeting process as we move into next school year that I think will be a way to actually reduce some funds and also certainly give all of our employees a better opportunity to understand what their budget is and what they can expend on, et cetera, et cetera. So,
And
Our Chromebooks are currently on a 6-year replacement cycle.
6 year,
So we replace them twice in a student's
except for the ones they have.
career.
That's
Well,
different.
but it's, so an individual Chromebook is not count, but it's the mass purchasing of the
Okay.
Chromebooks that does.
I see.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that is what it is, and they are on a 6-year cycle. And even when they're damaged, they're still replaced with that same year Chromebook. So they don't get,
Yeah.
if you're a Chromebook, if you're on the 2025 cycle and you damage your Chromebook in 27, they will give you a 25 Chromebook again if they have some extras from, or they will fix it. We do all of our repairs in-house as well.
Okay.
And so just to add to that, the Chromebooks, there are districts that do not pay it out. They pay it out of the general fund, not the PI, if they have one. And there are districts that figure they can pay it out of the PI. And so that's
There are
in,
some districts are in a 4-year cycle. So
well,
Yeah.
to your point, right, the global purchase is right. That's one way to look at it. Other people look at it as the Chromebooks generally don't last 5 years from what you said. They break, need repair, blah, blah, blah. And so just putting it out there that districts look at it differently.
that is true. But I can see the crowds getting restless because you guys are stealing my time, and they're very upset about it, as you can see, and I don't want them to start throwing stuff. So here it's just graphed out so that you can see that high spike. That's when the 9 million was there, and then it shifted. Nothing crazy happened or unexpected happened or irresponsible happened. It was just shifted towards building projects. So I want to kind of move into continuing to answer some of these questions, and this is really starts to get at the heart of a potential resolution that the board will consider tonight. So the board has already acted and voted and passed a plan. We have already started to move on said plan and spent money on said plan. So somewhere very close to $1 million has already been invested at this point. So the original plan was, the plan that was passed that we were seeking the funds for, but have not yet executed, is 8 classrooms at, this is Buckeye Elementary, with air, a gymnasium, new boilers, a playground and equipment, outdoor land improvements, and furnishings. GMP means gross maximum price. So that means it cannot go over that. If it goes over that, the CMR, the construction manager at risk, which for us is Cleveland Construction, eats that. So that's at $9,581,000.
May I just say something, please?
Surely.
That does include new boilers for original Buckeye.
Correct. Correct.
And your water line too, which is really
Yes.
important.
Some utilities.
Yes.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
With the idea that renovation of that side would take place at some point in the future. Well, not even all of it in the future. So let's drop down to the bottom. That would leave roughly $2.4 million left to do as many improvements as possible. On the flip side, what we're taking a look at this point is, could we do the entire building? Meaning add air conditioning to the rest of Buckeye, replace the flooring, the windows, the doors, the lightings, the roof repairs, the interior paint, the finishes, and make Buckeye essentially no different educational experience than what we're seeing at our new elementary schools. Those folks voted for the levy that passed in 15 or 16 to construct those buildings, but yet there's a segment of the population that doesn't directly benefit from that construction. So the idea was if we went to 15 million in the issuance, that's what we believe would do the entire building. So before any decisions are made on how large should this expansion be, these are things that as a finance person, I would recommend that we do. And we do a complete and thorough current and projected enrollment study. We need to know how many students are enrolled by grade level, review 5 and 10-year enrollment projections, look at the demographic trends, are there housing developments? All those things have to be studied and understood before you maybe make a decision to add and close another building and find out 3 years later you're going back and trying to reopen a building you mothballed. And mothballing a building is not good for it. Then capacity of existing educational spaces. Again, evaluate classroom utilization, how much of that space is available, class size. We need to know what's an acceptable class size. I personally think that 50 kindergartners is a good number. That's a good number. No, of course it's not, right? No one would want to see that. So, but to take a hard look at that, what are the numbers that keep us financially sound, but at the same time, and most important, able to effectively educate these kids?
Yeah, can I add to that?
Yes, sir.
Generally in elementary, and Ms. Brewster, who's many years in that, can speak to it. Elementary, you probably don't want more than 22 to 23 per classroom. Right now, we do have places that have 26, 27. And so, that's something to keep into consideration.
Absolutely. So again, determining what that is, and identify rooms that are currently used for special services. Sometimes the special needs units kind of become an afterthought, and then we're scrambling around, and that's when you see them in closets and hallways, et cetera, and we don't want that. The infrastructure and site constraints, evaluate whether existing utilities, mechanical systems, all of that can support added classrooms. Now, in the Buckeye situation, I know that's being accounted for. Review site layout and determine the best expansion locations. Consider zoning, traffic flow, a traffic study is necessary. Do we have the parking to support? If you were to close a building, do you have the parking to support? If you just do an addition, do you have the parking to even support that? And then, of course, a green space study. If you build these classes, is there sufficient room to support not only the students in the school for recess, but if there's a soccer league that's out there or a softball league or whatever that have been consistently used that green space, that's probably a consideration or should be a consideration. Estimate staffing needs associated with classrooms. How many do we have there? Whether specialized staff like nurses, counselors, what space do they require? Again, that's often overlooked. And review our operational costs associated with the total expansion. Almost done. Do a financial analysis of the various scenarios and see what works best. And then, importantly, we need to engage the community and just have conversations. And we had a meeting last Saturday. I don't know if anybody in here was there on Saturday, but my perception, and Chris's perception, was that it was a very positive engagement. So I think we learned a lot there, and hopefully those that came learned something as well. So that concludes my report. And board members, I'm sure you're going to need some time to dive into that PI. You probably have questions. If you want to set up a one-on-one or a one-on-two, we can do that and look at different ways that we might want to address what we're using PI for, and what else, what are some other ideas that we might be able to do to expand that revenue.
And have you because we don't have hard, fast figures yet because we made some changes with our health insurance.
Right.
But are we realizing any savings this year, or will it be another year?
It's not, so we're spending more, but we're not spending as much more.
Okay.
So our overall raise, you know, the rates still went up. They went up, I believe it was 10%, which was forecasted, or it was in our forecasted range, 10 or 8% total, as opposed to if we stayed with a consortium, it was 20.
Yeah,
So in terms of what realized savings, we're more on the forecast than we are in terms of actually saving money. So I think that's a clarification from that. Also, with some of the other programs that we've put in place, we do think we will see more savings from that as they get utilized. We do know that we have a couple of program people who have taken advantage of some of these programs, which benefit both them and the district as a whole. And it's moving forward rather well.
So I think the forecast was 8%.
I think we kept it at the forecasted
And,
level.
and then, it would have been 20,
Yes.
and it's really 10.
No, I think it's 8. It's right at the forecasted level.
Oh, is it at 8?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause the forecast was 8 originally.
Yeah, it was at the, and that gives us a chance to build up reserve.
okay.
Can I ask you a couple questions? So the $60,000 or the $120,000 that the county took, that's affecting our PI, that's a one-time, that is not in perpetuity, that is a one-time thing that they did, correct? Like,
It's not
Not
clear.
really.
It's going to be every year.
So they can,
I mean, they have to agree to it, they have to
I
pass
think they have
that
to
year.
agree to, they have to agree to take it away.
Yeah.
Yes.
They have to vote to rescind it.
Yes. So now that they've enacted, I think they have to vote, yes, that's how to move it back.
I asked that very same question, and the answer I got was, it's highly unlikely that you'll see that go away. So it is built in across
It's built into the rest of this after the first,
Yeah,
after
it's not just
February
one.
27th.
all the way through.
Okay.
The other thing to note, there are a number of property tax bills that have just passed the Senate and are waiting the governor's, the desk. We are not, in terms of the loss from that, we're not seeing what other districts are seeing. We are somewhat held harmless until I believe it's the third year, and it's not. We gain, but it's not. The projections were like favorable and okay in that aspect.
And because we were down in Columbus, like, was there any updates about when we are going to know more information? I mean,
There
what
were
are they saying?
the Senate's finishing up their, they finished their session. I believe they were going back.
They
for one
did. They
more.
passed 4.
They passed 4, about the 20 mil floor, so our substitute levy now counts for the 20 mil floor. They passed one on inside millage growth, capping inside millage, but it wasn't the hard cap that was before. It was a little bit more realistic. They took any income tax for districts that have income tax, they don't count it towards the 20 mil floor anymore. It was before. And they gave some powers back to the county commission in terms of what they can do with taxes. I forget what the fourth one was. They just passed today.
Okay,
And I read them and I was like, oh, I should mention those, and then I forgot.
yeah, okay.
We don't have any money in here for the casement.
No,
Correct, right?
We
We're
don't
not
include that.
estimating
No.
that.
No, they've not broken ground yet, just to my knowledge, so
So,
So that can only be a positive to this?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay, that was,
Yeah.
because we
Real-
have that scheduled.
yeah, real revenues, real meaning hitting $1 million, are going to be 5-6 years out from that development. We'll get a little bit as we start to go.
they are behind schedule. They were supposed to
So
break ground.
they're on schedule.
Oh, they're
So
on
it's a little
schedule?
update, okay?
Okay.
So they had a little sewer issue,
I heard
okay,
that.
which is probably what you heard about
Yeah.
and you were talking about. So that was taken care of. Originally, when they had met with us, they said they expected students to be coming in at the end of 2026, and they're on schedule for that.
Okay.
so, and then my last question is just for clarity for the public. We're looking at moving from 8 classrooms to potentially 12, depending.
Depending on what the studies say, and what what the board ultimately decides. But as the plan states is stated right now, which is board approved, is 8 classrooms. So that is what is sitting that's what the contractors have and are doing until something changes.
But the idea behind passing additional,
Be
the
adding-
approval for additional dollars is to add classrooms.
Completing some studies and adding additional classrooms.
And then I know on the agenda, we're gonna start seeing being, headed towards second semester retirements.
There are a lot on tonight, and a lot of people in the room who are on those
Yeah.
agendas, so yes.
And so we can't factor that in yet, how that's gonna look, yeah.
Typically retirements, outside of having to pay severance, a $100,000 person's replaced by a $65,000 person. Not trying to put a dollar on top of your heads, teachers, but, I mean, just from a mathematical perspective.
And
Well,
administration.
you put it this way, the end of a career and the beginning of a career.
Sure, it only makes sense.
And knowing early who we have on these lists makes it a whole lot easier for us, because then we can go out and recruit earlier and get them get good ones out of college so we can have them ready to go. It's a lot easier in the earlier months and kind of get our recruiting down earlier than it is in June. So.
My last question is, if we proceed to the resolution later and determine that the board wants to pass that, it's going to mean that the construction process doesn't start immediately because we have a lot more questions to ask, correct?
There's an awful lot that could get mobilized and going quickly, and still be able to pivot. Now, how long it can pivot, that's a question for the architects and for Cleveland Construction. But there's an awful lot that needs to take place before you'd be in a position where we couldn't go to 10 classes or 12 classes.
Right. And down in Columbus, Ryan from Venn Design said that, the playground at Buckeye would not be impacted initially with what they would be doing is preliminary work.
So at the beginning of
Right.
construction, the
Right.
existing playground would not be interrupted.
Yeah, right.
They were saying the playground will not be interrupted at Buckeye during initial construction.
During the very start, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just one clarification. I'm sure it's just an oversight.
Mhm.
On the PI, you have the Buckeye Melridge, 12 million financed 25 years, and I think you're stating 15 million 30.
If it goes to that,
Well, I'm saying because the 955,
That would be that's the number for the 1530.
yeah, those are the high numbers, right?
Right.
Those are 30, 25, and 15 million is what that reflects.
and then the forecast doesn't go out far enough to pick up the 991, but that would come later.
Right.
Okay. All right. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Any more questions? Public comment? Anyone wishing to address the Board of Education will be recognized by the board president. Speakers are requested to speak from the podium, identify themselves and their topic. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. I guess this is the podium.
Congratulations to the winners of the school board election. I'm exceedingly happy with the outcome and wish you, the returning members, faculty, teachers, and staff, Godspeed on your mission to educate our students. I want to recognize and thank the Stakeholder Alliance. Doggone it, I'm proud of you people. You guys came together, conservatives and liberals, saw through the BS that keeps us divided and became a team. We focused on a goal and succeeded as a unified front. Congratulations and thank you. Mr. Fischel, begrudgingly, I must also render thanks to you, sir. You remind us that we need the haters to inspire us to keep going forward, speak truth to power, and stand up and fight. Like the sunrise, we predicted what you do and you didn't disappoint. Did you actually believe that George Davis and Loretto Ifelice funding your campaign fundraiser at his residence wouldn't enrage the electorate? George and Loretto sure as hell knew it would. How about the fact you defied your own focus group and impacted the surplus of the Permanent Improvement Fund to build a Riverview addition years early? Did you ever ask yourself the question, are they funding me to win or only to think I could win? Sometimes blood is thicker than water. You manipulated this board, the district email system, funneled untold thousands through multiple PACs, sent tens of thousands of hit pieces, and your own political fluffery, you directly spent more than $10 a vote for a meager 5th place showing. What kind of an idiot does that? Oh, you do. How much would 202 of those votes cast for me have been worth to you? I got 632 votes and I didn't spend a penny. I didn't spend the gas to reuse my campaign signs, didn't work the polls. I used my engineering degree to conduct a risk analysis and concluded the statistical probability that if I didn't campaign, my name on the ballot would strip more votes from your crew than from the winners. Was I right? We may never know. I'm proud I came in dead last in this election. I gained 631 reasons why my ex-wife is wrong, and you, sir, you and your cuckolds are defeated twice. You should be aware that your campaign donors and PAC cutouts aren't the only people with power and money in this town. A lot of people outside this room are paying attention, people you're going to desperately need if you have any hope to continue your political aspirations. Yeah, right. At this point, your best move is to stand down. Every unlawful thing you've done in these last 2 elections has a statute with years left to run. You're about to give the people with more power than you have a reason to act. Oh, and I also found out something about you, Miss Brewster. Did you try to scam the school board back when you were an employee here to send you to England to a teacher symposium and foot the bill for it and get you out of the last 2 weeks of teaching school, only for the board to find out that
Sir,
you really wanted to go there for a
Yeah.
friend's
In all due
wedding?
respect,
Calm down,
I'm going to
calm
ask
down.
you to stop.
Okay.
That's enough.
Anyone else?
Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Matt Ozinga. For those of you that don't know, I'm president of the Riverside Local Education Association. I have a question tonight. And that question is, what's it like to be Denise Brewster? It must be a little like making a deal with the devil. I've never met him. It must be frustrating to know that my thoughts and actions aren't my own, that I answer to somebody else. As you sit here in front of all these people, the teachers, Facebook, parent groups, community members who so thoroughly trounced everything you were told that would work. To watch your benefactor go down in a blaze of electoral glory must be difficult. It must be confounding to be told that the community isn't interested in your brand, when just a few years ago you were told that the only way you could win was to embrace fraudulent, phony conservatism. Well, now it seems you have a choice. Your benefactor is everything wrong with modern politics, a person completely uninterested in anyone other than themselves, acting as if they are on a holy crusade to save the Riverside School District from itself, masquerading as a conservative while sending the school district into deficit spending and running up debt. A person completely uninterested in children, the school district, the staff, or the administration, and only interested in exercising power. A person who is acting like an impetuous child who isn't getting the candy they want from mommy in the checkout line at Giant Eagle. The way I see it, going forward, it's your reputation on the line. Your benefactor got beat and he lost. He played the game poorly and suffered the consequences. You have a choice. Instead of participating in this ridiculousness, you can put a stop to it. You know what's going on is wrong. The question is, will you do anything to stop it? Why are you still believing the lies of your benefactor? Why are you ruining your reputation? You have a choice. Scott Fishel doesn't matter. You've got 2 more years on the board. You can't run and hide on January 1st. The final chapter of your reputation is about to be written. Again, another choice. Stop saying yes to Scott. Do what's right. Stop this lunacy. Or be forever remembered as Scott Fishel's lackey who couldn't think for herself and was too cowardly to do what was right. Remember, your power is gone. Last I checked, the winners get to write the history.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Archer of Belmore Street, and I'm here tonight as a parent, a homeowner, and someone who spent years volunteering and supporting our schools. I truly care about the students and this community. And I hate public speaking. But here we are a year later. Many of us are deeply disappointed in the decisions over the past year made by Mrs. Brewster, Mr. Fischel, and Mr. Keeney. What I'm especially upset about is knowing how hard parents and volunteers work to fundraise for schools all year long. I know the budgets are millions here, but when we all volunteer and put all of our time into it, maybe just a few $100,000 is not a big deal to you guys, but why are we continuing to waste funds on things like the LLB resources at $250 an hour to send subpar, redundant communications and no proof of efficacy? And this isn't just about dollars, it's about integrity, integrity, judgment, and priorities. So I speak mostly to Ms. Brewster, since you'll be the one that's remaining on the board in January, and Ms. Grassi and Ms. Krasinski, of course, also. But at times, Ms. Brewster, you seem to be considering and doing what's morally right, but then fail to fall to the party line. I'm not talking about Republican versus Democrat. The Republican voters, myself included, made it known on Election Day that we don't just support any Republican candidate, and that the Lake County Republicans should choose some better candidates to get behind. We want our school board to be positive examples for our children. And speaking of positive examples, and this one, just after watching Dr. Thompson today, I think you bring a great vibe and welcome. Thank you for explaining a lot of the terms that some of us might not have known. And Dr. Attino, over the years, well, we might not always 100% agree on everything. I'll chase you down, we'll talk it out and things, and there's still something on the books. But when the shooting happened at Riverview Elementary last year, where my son goes to school, or he did that year, he was riding his scooter through there at that time, and our friends were dropping their kids off, things like that. Dr. Attino led the board and everyone there, and it was like a well-oiled machine, and we thank you for that. So, in closing, again, welcome to the new school board members next year, and Ms. Brewster, please take time to consider what you are voting on and vote with your heart and your morals, not political alliances. This is your time to shine. If not, we'll make sure to make the same promise that we did last year, and it'll be our new side hustle to ensure that you are not reelected in the future. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Hello, how is everyone tonight? My name is Jeff Jordan. I'm a resident. I have 3 kids in the district. In the aftermath of a decisive election, our community sent a clear message about the direction it wants the district to go. And that message should have ushered in a respectful transition, one focused on stability, transparency, and honoring the will of the voters. But instead of accountability or collaboration, we've watched a scramble behind closed doors in an effort to direct blame anywhere but where it belongs. That lack of transparency, especially at a time like this, when we're getting ready to usher in 2 new board members, erodes trust. And I'm here to tell you that as a community, we expect better from all of you. We expect a decision that puts students first, not politics. We expect that major leadership choices will not be made by board members whose terms are nearly over. And we expect those that are leaving leave with integrity, not with actions that bind the hands of those who have been elected. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. Monthly finance reports.
We got one more?
We got one more.
Sorry. I'm a little indecisive, but I'll. Hi, friends. Hi, I am Nicole Voitosh, Nikki Voitosh. I have 3 children in the district, and I'm a resident, obviously. I didn't have anything planned, but I really just want to let you guys know that when I'm raising my children, I raise them for accountability and integrity. And I really have, as a parent, and as someone who is new, I fostered and adopted my children, so I'm a new parent, so granted I could get this wrong. But I should have expected more from the leaders of our school board. to help in prospering our community. And the last couple of years, it's felt divisive. And I don't appreciate it. So I would encourage, I know that everyone is trying their hardest. At least that's in my heart of hearts what I expect and what I'm telling myself to believe. But I would really, really hope that the remaining individuals of this board take into account the voice of the constituents that you guys are helping, the voice of the students, and really take in integrity and accountability. I don't think that people in this volunteer-ish role have malicious intent until you show me that you have malicious intent, and it's been really hard to overlook some of those actions, words, statements, and backings that have come up. And you are getting more younger families into the district that are going to be more, they're going to be more affluent, more well-spoken, more educated than I am sure. But you are going to be getting new individuals into this district, and they're going to be millennials. They're going to be younger than some of the people that you're currently trying to support, I guess, through your actions on the board. And I just want to make it aware that we talk, and we're not very happy with it. So please continue to support our teachers, because our teachers are what makes the school district wonderful. And please continue to act with integrity and accountability, and as a team, like this is not okay. Like, it's really not. You're here. We're a school district, and I'm a Republican. Like, I get it, but no, like this is not the place. This is not the time for any of that. So, thank you.
Okay, monthly finance reports and check payment register report.
I think this is a consent agenda.
Consent agenda, Mr. Fisher.
Sorry, consent agenda.
Finance and audit consent agenda.
A through a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm making a motion to approve the items listed A through I on the finance audit consent agenda as recommended by the treasurer. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to publicly thank the people for their donations. We've got some dollars from Kate Stewart to the academic decathlon team. We have some funding from an anonymous donor to the Riverside Veterans Memorial Fund, and we have quite a number of donations from the Busser Family Foundation to the Care Closet, Culture Creators, and Sidekicks for Connecting Kindness and Culture Playbook, for the Valentine's Day dance, and for the side program for upcoming project needs. So thank you to all of them.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please take the roll.
Mr. Fischel.
Aye.
Mrs. Grassi.
Aye.
Mr. Keeney.
Aye.
Ms. Brewster.
Aye.
Mrs. Krasinski.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Consent agenda personnel.
I make a motion to approve items listed A through G listed on the personnel consent agenda as recommended by the superintendent. Do I have a second?
A second.
Any
is it A
discussion?
through-
Hold on. A through G?
I believe it's G's the voting, so F, A through F, right?
A through F?
It is A through F.
F.
Oh, excuse me, A through F.
You sit corrected?
Yeah,
I said corrected.
A through F.
Okay, second.
Any discussion?
I would like to just congratulate those teachers who have, who are on the agenda tonight who retired. One kind of technicality, Mrs. Javork is also, although she is resigning, she is retiring. She's taught a long time at Riverside with a staple, and it's going to be hard to replace. Along with Mrs. Viverka and Mrs. Watson. I know we have others who we got your paperwork, but didn't make it this time. We'll get you out in December, so you can skip OTES. So we'll make sure we get that for you, so you're all set. So congratulations early, and we will celebrate you again in May. And it'll be a fun party.
And I just wanted to say that the finance department, which you wouldn't believe the number of people that want to come in and work in the finance department, like pretty much the whole school district wants in there. But, so we had
This
a...
was your interview, actually.
Yeah.
These were the lineup for interviews.
Yes, they did. We were down the hallway. It was crazy. But we hired April, who is out of the high school office and doing extremely well, picking things up quickly, and just been really a nice breath of fresh air. So we're excited in our little department to have another good team player.
Also on there is Mr. Slug is resigning as a bus driver, so we do have an opening. So if anyone's looking for some fun, get your CDL and feel free to drive in with a bunch of kids. It's a great time, especially in the winter.
Put me on the curvy roads in Leroy, please.
Dr.
You may
Thompson
take the
will be
role
driving.
anytime you like.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Brewster?
Aye.
Mr. Keeney?
Aye.
Mrs. Krasinski?
Aye.
Mrs. Grossi?
Aye.
Mr. Fischel?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Consent agenda, curriculum, and programming.
No, I don't
There are no
see.
items on
There
there.
were no.
There are no-
yeah.
there are no items.
I thought,
Zero.
Where are they?
Yeah.
Moving on.
There were none to approve this time.
Approve
All my
it.
stuff went under
Yeah,
the
let's,
money.
yeah,
All
Dr.
my
Lock
stuff
already
went
spent
under
her
the money
money.
section. There's furniture and things
Yeah,
of
I
that
know.
nature. Yeah,
She's gone rogue.
Consent agenda, buildings and grounds. Make a motion to approve the items listed on the buildings and grounds operations consent agenda as recommended by the superintendent. Items A and B. Can I get a second?
Second.
Can you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Fischel?
Aye.
Ms. Brewster?
Aye.
Mr. Keeney?
Aye.
Mrs. Grossi?
Aye.
Mrs. Krasinski?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
First reading of new revised board policies.
Any questions? These are the transportation policies from Neola.
Okay, these are mostly rote.
Mostly wrote, adding a couple things here, dealing with buses and just a little bit of revision. Nothing of note.
Okay, so that's done. Board of Education business. We have an amendment to the agenda, and we have two other items. So the first item is Hack Excavating, resolution to approve a purchase order with Hack Excavating and Demolition, Inc. for the removal of the office trailer at Melridge Elementary School, removal of the hold-down piers, filling of the resulting holes with bank gravel, and restoration of the area to its original condition at a total cost of $16,500. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Can you call the roll?
Mrs. Krasinski?
Aye.
Ms. Brewster?
Aye.
Mr. Keeney?
Aye.
Mr. Fischel?
Aye.
Mrs. Grossi?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Second item is Armor Linings, resolution to approve a purchase order with Armor Linings, Inc. for a 4-year contract for the undercoating of 50 school buses per year at a cost of $17,900 annually. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Will they be doing that on site?
On site. Can you take the roll?
Yes, sir. Ms. Brewster?
Aye.
Mr. Fischel?
Aye.
Mrs. Krasinski?
Nay.
Nay. Mrs. Grossi?
Aye.
Mr. Keeney?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1.
Then we have the agenda amendment item, which was passed out, so I would like to take some time to read it before we move on. Has everyone read it?
No. I just received it tonight.
Okay.
Mr. McIntyre, correct me if I am incorrect, please. The language is simply the language that was passed before. It's identical, it's just a different number. That's the only difference between that and the original resolution.
I have a question on that. It says additional classrooms and a gymnasium, so there's no specificity as to the additional classrooms.
That's correct.
So,
My personal recommendation would be conduct our studies. Difficult to make a decision about exactly how many classrooms when, for example, you don't even know if the green space is there, for example, to extend, or the size of the, there's a lot of technical questions that someone smarter than me is going to have to answer.
okay, so I was involved in this from the very beginning.
Yes, sir.
We ran several different scenarios on where we could place classrooms, how many, what that site would hold. Then it was turned over to the Buckeye Committee. They studied it, and they came up with the 8-classroom addition with the full-size gymnasium. So in trying to maximize the use of that space, 8 classrooms is it. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to waste a lot of money on studies, and you're going to end up back where you're at. Number one, the existing storm drainage, we are going to keep utilizing. We're going to redirect from the parking lot to meet the existing. We got the okay with the stormwater for that. So all we have to, we don't have to detain that water. But the new addition and the other things there, we do have to detain that water. So where do you put that? Originally, it was proposed immediately behind the gym area. And it was originally not sized right. It was too small. So where does it go from there? Because that would have taken away any field space, any play areas other than the playground, which the playground as it is will be reduced in size, and the configuration will be much different. So where does all that water go? You have to find a place. So, okay, well, let's just put it back in the woods. The first study was, let's put it along the westerly property line, and it went from where the woods begins clear to the end of the property line, and it was about 120 feet wide. So that would have been all clear. Well, we come to find out that there's potential wetlands there, so we can't do that there. And so we had to look at it a little bit more, and we thought, well, to maximize use of field area and maybe a little bit of woods area for the kids, let's put it all the way in the back on the eastern half, the north half of the eastern half. That way it's out of sight, out of mind for the most part. Well, the original site designed for that, I thought, okay, that's not too bad. It'll fit in there pretty good. Well, they forgot to figure something, and then it ended up a lot bigger. So it's very big now. If you try to add any more structure to that site, you're going to have to then redirect the old drainage, because you're going to interfere with it no matter what you do, back to the detention pond, which will only be like half the size of what it needs to be. So you totally blow out the woods on the east side. And so you wouldn't have any woods left at all, and you would have a much diminished field size. And so I'm saying the professionals looked at this, they went through all different scenarios. You can spend a lot of money doing these other studies, and it's not going to come up any different. You're wishing for something that is not financially feasible. You can do anything you want if you spend enough money, But is that what we're here for, is just throw money at a problem and maybe it'll be fixed? No, you're just going to throw money.
Okay, I just want to caution everyone, if you interrupt the meeting, we'll have to clear the room. Okay, please.
As approved and ready to break ground, you have an 8-classroom addition and a full-size gymnasium with expanded parking. The expanded parking, that's as big as you're going to get. I don't care how many, rooms you add over there. The parking that's proposed is as big as you're going to get. That site is maximized. It has physical limitations due to size and other constraints. Maximum productivity is what has been designed and approved. Financial feasibility, the only way to go is what we have already approved. I'm sorry to say that to you. If we looked at this 9 months ago and they says, let's do it all at once, we could have come up with that $15 million and we'd have done it all and it wouldn't have been a problem. But it would have been all with 8 classrooms because you're not going to get 12 there. But go ahead and spend the money if you think that's what you're going to get, but you're not going to get it.
So let me just add that originally when we started working on this, I had meetings with Ms. Smolin, who's the principal over there. And what was determined with her was that 8 classrooms is what was desired and what she needed. So we did look at, because I originally brought 12, and I said, well, what if we do 12? And it was reduced down to 8 after a lot of discussion with the administration being the principal of the school. So there was a lot of work done on that, and I would have to say that sometimes enough money can overcome some obstacles, and sometimes it doesn't matter how much money there is, the obstacles won't be overcome. What surprised us a little bit was that the wetlands designation or probable designation took away, what did that take
Half
away?
the woods.
It took away an acre.
Close to it, yes.
Okay, the property's only 8.5 acres as it is. And so you lost a considerable amount of space from losing that area. And so what I would say is, if we had that area,
That would be a benefit, but the cost to overcome that, it's not feasible.
yeah, so just putting information out, it's just a general discussion with info. So you just know what the process was and how we got here.
Would it make sense to do the formal wetland study like was recommended
No,
from the
no.
walkthrough?
No.
To get the actual designation of what that space is?
Here again, throw some more money at it, but you're going to get the same answer.
So, is it the same woman that did the investigation as before?
It's the same.
At Riverview?
It was the same company recommended by TDA to do a
Do you know if it was the
walk.
same person?
I think it was a different person for this.
Okay. Yeah. I was just looking for some consistency of thought.
Sure.
If someone had spoken with her.
I spoke with the person who did it, who mentioned in the report he noticed a little bit. He said potential, but he would recommend the full study just to have the paper in hand. Riverview was a lot easier because there was absolutely nothing and it was a form for that. So
Right.
their recommendation was to continue with a full study and to go ahead and look and see what that is and how big the scope of the issue would be.
So, do you know how long it takes for a full study?
I do not have that information off the top of my head. No. I know it's a couple of months, I believe at least, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, just informational.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, in working with Ryan from TDA, he did not recommend, if you remember, with that long corridor with 8 classrooms, you get to a point where you really want to go up. Now,
Wait. Are you
along
talking
the-
about the east portion?
the east portion
Okay.
where the classrooms are. So if there were going to be 2 to 4 added, on that side, or even if you do 2 there and 2 on the library side, he had some concerns about the length of the corridor without going up.
He did mention that, he also said that that you could put 2 there with that setting, and still have a building that looks like scale. If you go to 12, it looks a little, it just won't look right. He says 10 will fit on the site with the potential, with the current plan that's there, and not interfere with the land that could be a wetland, it could not be.
Yeah.
So
Well,
he did mention that.
And with that long corridor and the windows that face the current playground, if that's going to have to be utilized for playground, that I know Riverview, Parkside, they make sure that the windows where kids are learning, that they're not distracted by the playground, the noise, the whole thing. And that is a very tight space. So, you know, the idea was that we were going to be able to utilize the space out there beyond the library for a baseball field, because it's going to need to be replaced, definitely the basketball court. And if we have wetlands back there, we're going to be limited in what we thought could have been a soccer field. So, you know, I want to make sure that we are, you know, thinking about the kids. And if you're only talking about Buckeye, if you're going to be adding in additional students from Melridge, then you're also compounding that by having limited space.
I think that's why
It's important for those kids.
I think that's why Mr. Thompson was proposing the green space study as well as a traffic study to make sure that whole area could.
Yeah, and I know that we were concerned about the current lunchroom and knocking out the stage to make more room over there. But the fact is that if we're adding that many more students, how is that going to affect that smaller gym, which was now going to be a lunchroom, because we're going to have a real gym with the stage. We certainly don't want.
So my understanding is the issue with that is they have limited amounts of lunches there because that space is used for the gym. When you have both separate spaces, you add additional lunches like are at our larger schools. So they have lunches that are a little bit, they have more lunch times instead of, because you don't have to clean up and then you have to switch over into the gym. So you can easily add additional lunch sections.
I mean, the only thing we have to keep in mind is that, you know, Riverview and Parkside, they were built from scratch. They have an unbelievable amount of space. We actually made the gym at Buckeye as similar as we could to that design. But you can't do that with the interior of Buckeye. It is what it is. It's an older building. But what we want to get rid of is, you know, we do have, even our officer can't be in the front because of those windows. It's like a greenhouse. It's so hot in that room.
They're not in the front at Riverview Parkside either. The officer's kind of stationed off to the side. I think it's, I agree.
But you can't have instruction in there. It's just too hot.
No, we need to have those instruction
Right,
spaces.
but you know, we also had drywalled areas on each side of the stage so that we could have support services, like you were mentioning, you know, that we need the proper space. We can't keep jamming all these support services for kids in pods and things like that. And what I don't want to do, because the whole intent of this was to right-size the district and not create, you know, space issues again. And then, you know, we've got 4 interventionists in one room trying to work with kids. Or we're taking away a library that is a nice library and we're throwing it in a classroom or a different space because we want to add on some more classrooms. So I just want to protect, you know, I want to right-size the district, and I don't want to get an A in overcrowding again.
Can I ask a couple things?
Yep.
So this agreement is strictly for the cops. I want to make clear that this is just the cops. The TANs is that's already been approved. This is just an amendment.
Yes, it is amending the amount for the cops. The TANs is set because of the 10-year statutory requirement, you know, and we don't want to, you know.
And that was already approved by the
That
board.
was already approved anyways.
Okay, because I had asked Ms. Grassi, because I saw the number $13,750,000, and she said, yeah, the TANs is already approved. This is cops.
That's correct.
So then I have a couple of other questions. So we're all speculating about a lot of things, but our construction team had some things to say about it, correct?
They did.
About pricing and about the ability to get this done for that amount of money,
Correct.
about the ability to do what we're considering. Can you elaborate on that just a little? I mean, I know we can't speak for them fully, and you can't, they haven't done all of their due diligence yet. But can you at least expound on what they've had to say about what that proposal would look like?
Yeah, when you sent the email out for us to ask into, Mr. Riachi for some of the information and costs as well as what it would look like. In looking at that, they're estimating that $15 million would cover the cost of an additional 4-class addition off the library if desired there, as well as a redoing of the entire inside building so that it is wrapped up and buttoned up, roof, windows, floors, to that aspect. It is not, if we were to add 2 classrooms on to the one side, because that's what the property could hold, and that's what the traffic study reveals with the green space study, that's about another additional $660,000 according to Mr. Riachi. That was his estimate from that. His estimates have been pretty close. In addition to the $2 to $3 million that he would look for the full complete renovation of the inside spaces.
And that would then allow us to consider consolidating Buckeye and Melridge at the same time.
We could look into considering that, as well as look into even some redistricting. We have some buildings that are decreasing in their enrollment. Their enrollment's kind of trending down, so we could shift some areas around. Not necessarily a full bore redistrict like happened when we opened up Mark Center, but shifting some fringe areas to other buildings, moving some students to get those class sizes down to where we had said, hey, these are ideal.
So the library would become a hallway, right?
No.
Yeah, it would. If you're going to go out the back of the library becomes a hallway.
If that were the 4-classroom addition, I have not seen the plans.
Well,
for
I'm
the
just saying, if
4-classroom
that's
addition.
the direction you're going, I'm telling you, that's going to be your limitation, and that's what you're going to give up. So I'm just saying, we've been through all of these scenarios. We have been.
Well, the part of what we're talking about right now is the 80s, is that an 80s edition?
90s.
90s edition. It's irregularly shaped. It's very difficult to attach to. And inevitably, if there is a structure added on there, you're going to lose part of that library. It's inevitable. And part of what's being discussed right now is how do you go down the hallway, and the library's here, and if you add classrooms here, how do you get to the classrooms? Are you going to go around the library? You're going to go over the library, or are you going to go through the library?
And the architect thought that adding on to the library because of that irregular structure was not recommended.
Yeah, the architect was
They
very much against
did not
that.
recommend that.
I mean,
But-
we went through all the scenarios.
But one of the things that when we were talking, at the end of last year, we were discussing whether some classes who wanted to team teach could use the library. And then, we just put the library in a classroom. But, in talking to a lot of kids, because I'm at a lot of games with the number of grandchildren I have, and most of them were Buckeye, they did not like the idea of losing their library. They love their library, and, Buckeye has a library. The type of libraries that are at Riverview and Parkside, we are not creating equitable space.
Well, and I would say too, the addition to the back and could be the STEM lab with the door connected to a larger space that could be used as a new library, and then turn those into classrooms, look at kind of repurposing some of that space. That could be something that in talking with Ryan, he seems to feel like he's got some ideas that he's kind of bouncing
He'll churn
off of.
out anything you want, just pay the money.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. He'll churn out anything you want to see.
Within the price range that we had mentioned.
So
Roger, both of those people do believe that.
most things come down to money, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
All right, so I have one more thing I wanted to
Okay.
talk about. This whole idea of merging Melridge into Buckeye. I mean, everything I've heard of that everybody wants is communication. But how many people are from Buckeye or Melridge or have kids going to Buckeye or Melridge? All right, so that's not the whole school. And when you have a meeting like we had last year, you know, there were less than 10 people there. So I guess, you know, I mean, I would feel that they would want to weigh in. This is dramatically changing their school and where they attend. And most of the feedback we had, especially, you know, with Melridge, was that they like their neighborhood school. And, you know, the thing I don't want to see happen is that, you know, we're going to relocate our board office. I know you want out of the high school, but we have a perfectly good house next door that construction-wise could be definitely added on to, doesn't have to meet the specs of a school building, could be a beautiful board office. But it keeps them on campus where I feel it's important. And when you have an emergency, you're here. You're not out at Melridge. And then if Melridge, you know, if we bring our preschools back there, you know, we had a problem when they were isolated at Hale Road. And so then we brought them to Buckeye and Melridge so they weren't isolated. And now it's looking like we would possibly isolate them again. So, you know, I mean, there's a lot of thought that needs to go into what we're doing with that space. And feedback from those parents.
There is opportunities at Melridge to increase some space there. Physically, there is enough room. Not for any more parking, but you can add some real classrooms and maybe a gymnasium there. You'd have to get real creative with the detention. You may have to go down at the bottom of the hill, but it could be worked out. So there's opportunities there at a lot less money than, you know, going somewhere else.
So, just informationally speaking, when you held the meetings at the different schools and the meeting at Melridge was held, I spoke with a couple parents in the parking lot, and I asked them what their thoughts were about keeping Melridge or not, and those two parents said that they, different families, not a couple, they said that they definitely wanted to keep their school. So what I did, because I was only talking with two people, there were only about 10 people there, and some of the people were not from Melridge. What I did then is I walked the neighborhood, and I asked people who lived in the neighborhood, did a little survey about did they want to keep the school or not keep the school, merge or whatever it might be, and not one person said no. Everyone said they wanted to keep their neighborhood school, and that includes people that didn't have kids. So I did speak with someone else that has a family that has kids there, and that person told me, just because I happened to run into them, that they wanted to keep their neighborhood school. So I'm just saying, getting community feedback, everyone's here, right? Community feedback is really important. Do we want the community feedback from Melridge, their community, or not?
And Buckeye, if they want to.
Well, and Buckeye too for more kids, but so I'm just putting it out there for information's sake, because sometimes we want something and we'll disregard other pieces of information just because we want something, right?
I think that's fair. I would agree.
Right?
I think that's an absolute, I think in our capital improvements plan that we voted on, one of the things it clearly says is Melridge has a future in our district. We're not aware of what it is, but it definitely has a future, and everyone is saying that Melridge is going to have a future.
So, and there's different uses,
Yes,
different
I would fully
opportunities.
agree that that's.
Yeah, it's
Mr.
just
Keaty actually mentioned a different use the other day that no one had ever thought of. Maybe it's an intermediate school.
Who was that? Oh, Denver.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, so I think,
100%.
yes, absolutely. When we say that Melridge has a role in this district, it does. We were people think that it wants to be the board office. That was a spitball of an idea. I don't know if that's the answer or not. I don't know if it is a good answer. I think that's where studies come from. I know we can do a lot of different studies to make that out there. I think in hearing some of the community feedback, it is about kind of looking at that plan. Our plan said 8 to 12 classrooms. I know Mrs. Smolin said 8 would fit the needs that she has. I also know that 12 would really be impactful if we can make it on the site, and the construction professional said it will fit on the site. I think it is fair to see what that site looks like. I am not an expert in the field of what needs to go into that. That's why I trust those professionals who say that they're there, but I think having those mock-ups and sketch-ups and potentially not dragging it out, but quickly moving it, because we do have a GMP and it could be a change order to make it work that way. I think that's a quick way to do it, to really get a lot of feedback. I know when we asked for feedback before, we have it. I know that there's a lot of people here who, if we can continue some of this to continue to get that feedback, I think that's great. I think that's what we need to be. We say we're one community pursuing greatness. We need to continue to do that. And I think it's all of us involved. So I would be ultimately, let's have the meetings, let's sit down, let's go over House Bill 920 and intricacies. We'll get Dr. Thompson there to kind of spell it out. He would love to. But I joke about it, but let's really sit down and talk, listen quickly, mobilize, kind of get things going. But flexibility, I think, is key to all this, to make sure that this is what really is best for this community moving forward. And I think that's a key.
So what we have.
I would like to
go ahead.
know that each Buckeye and Melridge parent would be contacted and have an opportunity, like they understand what is being discussed, and that they would be allowed to have
We will
their
set up
input.
different sessions to have them in person. We will have
So they
opportunities.
understand what's being proposed.
We will walk through all of what they need. And I don't believe it's just Buckeye and Melridge. I do believe that anything we do, and we've talked about this a little bit, we've danced around it. Casement's coming. We know it is. That's a lot of homes. That's a lot of rooftops. It's going to slowly work its way in. Mr. Fisher, you said end of 26. That's end of next year.
Kids are supposed to start coming in
Math
at the
is-
26.
Is correct. So it's going to start impacting where we are. It is going to truly impact our enrollment. The same way that Heisley Park did, although I would say it's to a much larger scale. In that, what I know is in looking at enrollment trends at Buckeye, it hit the height when Heisley Park first kind of started. Now that school is actually getting smaller. Its enrollment is going down as the Heisley Park, that area matures. And we start to see less of the equilibrium look and change. And I think that's the key to the study, is also with Casement and the houses. What types of families are moving in there? Are they young families, or are those houses at a price point where they're older families?
So we won't go through all of that, but we basically have figured.
I think it was 1.3 kids.
Well, you have to guess how many, because the development is a different kind of a development, and it's not going to be like Heisley Park where there's a lot more kids. Okay, there's going to be fewer kids,
and it's slow.
And it again, you're not going to have the full effect at the end of 26. So the next school year, you probably have about 24 to 26 kids coming in a year. Now that doesn't mean one classroom, because it'll be distributed. So you're hoping to get maybe 6 years out of Riverview before you might have to do something. Okay, but then, with the normal descension and the ascension from the development, you don't know where that's going to meet. But when you start getting out 4, 5, 6 years, you have more information to make an intelligent decision, right?
And at that point, as we're out, I think that's the other part, is where the next. This is kind of a phase one. It's going to have continued phases. I absolutely agree that this is something that we can make work and continue to build on. And I think that's what we're hearing from kind of everyone is.
And all the information's being discussed, put on the table, different thoughts, ideas, opinions, directions,
collaborate.
all of that. So, and then maybe to kind of wrap it up a little bit, because of how this construction would happen, and if there's additional classrooms, it would not slow down the beginning of the project, because those wouldn't go where the beginning is. And so change orders, additions, whatever would want to be done could be done. That would allow for some time for study and all of that.
If I could mention the other key point to this, when I spoke with Roger about, is if we are doing the entire building, the 2 summers would be key to get that entire building completed, so they could do the work over the summers to do.
There's a lot of work inside.
There is a lot of work, and that will give them the summertime. And if the other classes are open, shifting kids around, I think that it's it's a good thing that we're shifting 4 preschools out of Melridge to give space there. And we may have to be creative, and there may be, we've talked about, what are we gonna do? It's gonna be a lot of pivoting. We may get dizzy from pivoting so much.
So we want the least amount of disruption possible.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
And I think Roger's the guy for that.
Now, how are the interest rates at, because
They're dropping.
the bond council said it.
Well, they were down under 4, they're up over 4, they're up over 4.1 right now. So we don't, I mean, the payment will fluctuate some with that. It's not going to be a huge amount. Obviously, we would like it closer to 4 or even under if it could be, but they've been bouncing around and it not always in what would be a normal common sense way.
He did mention you don't go chasing rates.
Exactly, you can't chase, you
But
can't
this is
figure.
it's fixed, it's not variable, right?
No, it is the.
It's
it
fixed
is
once
fixed.
it's sold.
It's
Right.
fixed. It would be fixed, insured, and looking for 5-year
5
options.
years.
Yeah, 5-year.
You're not allowed to refinance for 5
5
years.
years.
You can at that
At
point,
that point.
but, okay, we can get into all
We
of that.
can-
But to kind of bring us to a close here, what the resolution is, just to change those dollar amounts. I think everybody agrees that we're doing Buckeye, we're into it. Let's get it finished, let's get it buttoned up, let's get the funds. Any studies that we have, I would love to get a hold of them. I can compile them and put them all together, and if there's studies that are done or data that we can, let's make data-driven decisions. Let's get those in, look at them, and some of them we may not have to do a full study on because we already know the information.
But it'll be your job to acquire those studies.
That's what I'm asking for. So I want to get all that together and get this project going. But I would respectfully ask this board to come together, unified, 5-0, and pass this.
One of the things I want to just ask, there's a study for the traffic, because the
Yes.
way Buckeye's situated, I mean, you do have the line, it
100%.
varies depending on what day and function, because Mr. Ardino said he's in that line. But then you also, with Melridge, you'd have people coming the other way, and it's a bottleneck to get into even what we had unless there's a whole reconfiguration on that front yard.
I would agree. I think that's one thing that needs to happen.
Yeah,
It needs to-
because-
yeah. One of the ideals would be separate bus and car drop-off as well.
Yeah, well, and they need to look at Melridge too, because I've been in that Melridge, and you look at how Melridge and how many parents are over there, and then you add that to,
Melridge,
we need to look at that.
Absolutely.
It's a real, I'm telling you, it's a bottleneck.
I think we should put the littler kids on drones. You can just fly them in,
Drop 'em.
land.
Amazon.
High school kids could fly them in, get a certificate.
So I would just like to say a couple of things. So there's a lot of pros and cons to this plan, and I get it. We've had a lot of individuals who have done a lot of work on this project. This project did not come about the way that, in the usual course of business, I would think, but at least from my perspective, it is time for us to listen to the community. We have a lot of planning to do, is what I'm hearing from this. I would like to place my faith in our administration and that this is the right thing to do. I'm not a big fan of indebting our PI fund, but I have decided that I would like to collaborate and get a project done that can move this district forward. And it is time to put all this garbage behind us. And I'm willing to do that. And if I'm willing to do that, I believe the rest of this board should be willing to do that. And it is not the ideal project that we had wanted probably from the beginning. But if this board and the future members of this board are willing to be more open and receptive to listening to what this community has to say, then maybe this was not all for naught. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, and as long as that includes a concerted effort to engage those Buckeye and Melridge parents.
Has to.
And not just have 5 people show up.
No, it must. I
Yeah.
agree.
And then, I mean, we heard a lot about bankrupting the district, financial, concerns. I even heard it tonight at the podium. And so now we're going to borrow $3 million more, but now everybody's on board. So I just want to be clear that our treasurer has all along said, we are secure.
And I do believe that. That doesn't mean we're not levy imminent. We're going to need your help. But we'll push to 10 or 11 years before we ask. Thank you. I have one fan, I think.
I'd like to make an amendment to this resolution where it says item A in the first paragraph, additional classrooms. I'd like to amend that to say 8 additional classrooms.
Well, I mean, we had 8 on the plan.
This is for different money. So there's not a specificity. I'm trying to avoid a lot of heartache.
Trying to
So
understand.
I'm right here.
So we have already seconded didn't we already second the resolution? Like, we put the resolution up, but it was seconded.
I don't think we've done that yet.
We were just in discussion.
We
this
were
whole
just
time?
discussing. Well, at first I said I wanted to read it because I hadn't read it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we hadn't gotten there yet.
I think you made a motion.
Oh, I started to, but then we didn't go there, and I wanted to read this. And so right now, obviously you made the motion, we amended.
Correct.
Okay, but we haven't made the motion to approve.
I'm not sure adding limitations to this is in our best interest if we're going to increase the dollar amount of these funding. So I would not be in favor of that.
So you want,
I would go back to the plan that the board approved, the capital projects plan, which does state 8 to 12 classroom addition. I think that's been board approved by everyone.
We had a 5-0 vote to approve 8 classrooms and a gymnasium. All of a sudden,
No, we didn't.
yes, we did. All of
we
a sudden,
didn't.
something changed.
No, we didn't.
We did not. We went back and watched it. We did not vote yet, whatever, on the GMP the other day. It was 3-2. There was not a 5-0 ever.
that was for the GMP, correct?
For the GMP, okay. Well, anyway, I make a amendment to the resolution to say 8 additional classrooms.
Is that, all right, I'm going to second it for discussion. So can you explain that you're saying the 8 that we
8
had
classrooms maximizes the space. It gets us moving immediately on construction. The extra money then would be able to take care of the complete renovation of existing Buckeye over those 2 summers. I don't have a problem with the additional money, but additional classrooms are a no-go on that site.
Yeah, and the thing about, are we in discussion then?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I can see where there wouldn't be that much of an impact if you're saying 2 additional, because you're basically saying there's 8. If you added 2 more on that wing, that's not going to impact that whole field. But if you add to that side, you are totally impacting that field. You're impacting the library. It's
Doubling the detention size.
yeah.
I think 8 limits what you can do too much.
Well, what about 10?
I think 10 would be.
Can I just
I-
pipe in for 1 second? I don't think this can actually say a number of classrooms because this is a lease purchase agreement and you're going to be held and bound to whatever you put in here. Is
I
that
think
not
I think
correct?
that's a good idea to be bound to 8 classrooms. I firmly believe that.
Mr. McIntyre, is that true?
Well, I think the better place for the limitation would be when you approve the GMP, or the expenditure for those additional classrooms. So if the answer ends up being 2, or maybe 0, whatever the feasibility studies show, then you would either approve or not approve when that expenditure comes before you as a potential resolution. I think these are, I didn't write this, your bond counsel wrote this, but I believe bond counsel would recommend to you that you keep it general enough so that the monies could be used for that purpose, just in case. Because this is what goes out to the investors so that they realize what the funds are available for. But you as a board still control the final product that ends up getting built because you have to approve the GMP.
For the clarification. Well, by the time you approve the GMP, you have finished drawings, you have your design, and you've spent money, more money again, because we already had a design for the 8 and the gymnasium. So, you know, that's a little late to pull up stakes again.
Another approach is that, you know, oftentimes, you know, an architect goes through different phases of their drawings. So they start out with like a schematic design phase, which is a pencil drawing, you know, site plan, and then the board can require that that come back to the board for approval before you would move to the next phase of drawings. So if at that point the board was not comfortable with what the schematic design looked like, then the board could stop it before additional money would be spent. Certainly way before the GMP would be done.
Well, and you could conceivably, if you're talking, I don't know if you're talking a year from now, I don't know what your timeline is, you don't know how prices are gonna be and what you can afford.
The existing plans for original Buckeye to do the improvements are only maybe, architecturally, they're probably 80%. Mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, nowhere even close. You're 2 to 3 months out on that. So you're looking with, if you're gonna, you know, to go with this extra money, like I said, I don't have a problem with that. It's the additional classrooms, because with that moving into next spring, before you even are gonna have a GMP for original Buckeye, if you go full bore. You know, as originally proposed, we were going to do what we could do. I can understand wanting to go in and doing it all. But, you know, going through all of those other iterations, you know, it could be a year before you finally get a GMP.
Understood. You know, another approach is that the board could approve the resolution as it's currently drafted, and then only approve a feasibility study for what this new improvement plan would look like, without really approving the expenditure of significant funds, and then control the process that way.
Yeah, and I like that idea because in some ways I feel like we're putting the cart before the horse. I mean, we need to know what we can do before we tie our hands in this. So.
But we know what we can do.
Yeah, well, I know, based on what we've heard so far.
It's
And you've
what
been
we,
more involved with
it's
those
what we
people
would
than I have.
wish for.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I agree. So the amendment.
So what's on the table right now, Mr. President, is to make an amendment to the resolution with the limitation of 8 classrooms. So there needs to be, it's been moved and seconded, so it needs voted on.
Is there any further discussion on that?
Would there be an issue with, if it does not go 5-0, would there be an issue with bond counsel or the municipal advisor engaging with us?
Or can we amend it to 10?
This is an
We need to vote.
amendment
This
to
is
what's
just on the
here.
amendment.
We're not voting on it yet. This is the
This is
amendment to
the
this.
amendment to
This
it?
is just the amendment.
So this
Yeah.
is not, this is the resolution to amend the agenda,
Consider it.
amend the amendment.
We got that,
That's
Dr.
correct.
Thompson?
Okay.
What's that?
Yep, you got that?
I got it.
Yeah.
To see these minutes. Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay,
Let me take-
can you take the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Keeney, so if you vote yes, you're voting to amend it to say 8 classrooms.
Well, then, yes.
Yes. Ms. Brewster?
Yes.
Mrs. Krasinski?
Nay.
Mr. Fischel?
Nay.
Mrs. Grassi?
Nay.
Motion carries 3-2.
No, no, motion failed, 2-3.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. The motion went the way I wanted it to go, is what I meant to say. Motion fails 2-3. So there is no 8 limitation on the amendment, so that brings us back to what we already started, which we've moved and seconded for up.
I don't think we moved and seconded.
We didn't move in second, you're right, we did not move in second.
So there has not been a motion yet, and so, Ms.
That's what we
Grassi,
need.
do you want to make a motion?
Sure, do you want me to read this all again?
No. It's already been amended, and right now, what we're looking at doing is making a motion to approve the
approve this-
amendment as stated.
As stated originally. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Krasinski.
Any
Is there-
discussion on that?
I think we ran that horse dead.
I think that horse has run its race, right?
I thought that I liked what Dan had to say about, that the additional classrooms were dependent on some of this preliminary thing. In other words,
So what we're hearing from the board is do some studies, bring it back,
So,
talk about it in
yeah.
session.
Money is no object, gentlemen. Money is no object.
Well,
So
I would
just wanna put
rephrase
out
that
there.
and say, any study that's been completed, any study that reinforces what you're saying, please give me the study, and then I don't have to do it.
okay, so right now, what's going on is not so much that there have been studies, but it's my understanding at least that Dr. Thompson, our treasurer, is going to solicit and acquire a couple studies to see what the possibilities are or are not.
Correct.
Feasibility and
And
possibility.
as quickly as I
Okay,
can get it.
so where it is right now is those studies can be had if the project moves forward. None of the breaking ground and moving forward with what needs to be done first would be affected. So this would only be later in the process on the other side of the property, the east side of the property, which would allow time for studies to be gathered. And then the board at that point in time can decide what they want to do
That's
or
correct.
not do.
I
So,
want to be clear for the community that this is bond council providing a resolution so that we can actually go out and sell bonds. Like it's not, we can't add language to that for, let's add feasibility. So this is going out to investors. So this is like pretty much standard boilerplate language with our dollar amounts in here. So
Right, you're not deciding how to
Correct.
spend it, just to borrow
just
it.
to borrow it. So,
And so when is this supposed to go out if approved?
We would have to see if we can reengage. We reengage and see when they can get the insurance.
probably going to take them 2 weeks to do their work,
I would
2
guess
to
a little
3.
bit more with the holidays coming up.
plus or minus.
Yes.
we
Yes,
would
And then-
also be asking for insurance with this issuance.
correct.
Yeah, so
That's the
that's a
recommendation.
technical that no
I
one
get
knows
it, but
about
like
yet.
we didn't
So-
get that
I
the
didn't
last
know.
time.
So it would probably take about 2 weeks plus or minus for them to do their work. And then after that, they have to schedule, and the earliest they'd be able to schedule is a week out. So it's a minimum of 3 weeks. It's most likely going to be a month.
And it's in our Moody's, all the work we did with Moody's and the ratings that we have still stay in place.
That all stays in place. None of that's affected.
Still have our high grading,
We are
very favorable in terms of that.
November 20th.
About the title. That was the
Okay,
issue,
so
the title.
realistically, you're looking at about a month, so maybe a little bit before Christmas. That would be the likely timeline.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right, well, if there's no further discussion, Dr. Thompson, can we call the roll, please?
Well, I just want to clarify that, in other words, the, no work can be done until the bonds are sold, is what you're
Correct.
saying?
Okay, so let's back up, okay? The original GMP was approved subject to the financing being secured. So that's still in place. So once the financing is secured, that GMP can move forward.
Okay, even though
Okay,
that's
and the
specific.
way that it's written is it leaves flexibility to do whatever building and or renovating you want to do. That's how it's written. Right now, you can do anything you want to do with the money.
On the one we approved.
The previous one that's already approved.
Right.
Okay, so the money that's coming in, it was a hybrid, because originally we were looking at that GMP as 8 classrooms, a gymnasium, boiler, and renovations, as much as we could get done with Buckeye and Melridge. So you're allowed to use the money throughout the district the way you wanted. There was flexibility built in. This would not change that.
Just to clarify, the 9.5 GMP, that is for the 8 classrooms, gymnasium, new water line, new boilers, but it's specifically spelled out as to what that is. There's a second GMP coming for the remainder of the renovations, and
right.
that would include windows.
I stay corrected.
Yes.
So thank you for that. And so, right, that was for the general construction, and we were still working with the architect to get some
Parking lot.
specs so that we could find out how much renovation we could do. What it would, and specs would be given from the architect. Roger Riachi, the owner's rep, would then go to Cleveland Construction and get a GMP for that, and then we would know, what it costs and how much we could do. So that was the original $12 to $12.5 million. It's now being bumped to $15 million, okay, with other possibilities, whatever the board would decide to do.
And that's dependent on the results of these studies and if there's any
Right.
limitations.
Right, well, you want to be responsible and find out what you can and can't do.
It may end up being 8 classrooms.
Yeah.
And that's just
That's
logical.
entirely possible. I would, if I could, just in trying to put this deal back together, this is a weird ask. I don't think I've ever run into this in 30 years, but the bond municipal advisors want to have confidence in a collaborative together board, and they've, in my conversation today, to pick right up and keep right on moving, which would save us a lot of time and money, they would feel a whole lot more secure in a 5-0 vote. Is that fair to say, Dan? That was our understanding. So I understand not everybody's getting what they want, but I assure you that my recommendations, and I know I can speak for Dr. Rattino, regardless of what we think we want, if the studies show something different, we're not going to manipulate those studies or drive the district in a direction that's not good for the district or not good for our students. So please, I ask you to take that leap of faith in us, and I'm asking for you to go 5-0.
Yeah, it's an interesting statement because the representative from the bond council asking for something like that is very unusual.
It is.
Because school districts do not default and not pay.
That's correct.
So for him to try and drive that is a little unusual. And I would say that I would just question, does a board want to stay engaged with that, or does a board want to acquire someone else to go for the financing? I mean, that's a very, very unusual and unique
Yeah, for them to
request from a bond council.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, but the only thing I can tell you is that I personally and other districts have done multiple deals with Mr. Priscilla, and I've only known him to be intelligent, good advisor, easy to work with, and I also think the situation he's in is a bit unique as well.
Yeah, I think he was erroneously engaged, which changed his behavior, and that's an unfortunate situation.
We call the roll?
Mr. Fischel,
Aye.
Mrs. Grassi,
Aye.
Mrs. Brewster,
Aye.
Ms. Krasinski,
Aye.
Mr. Keeney.
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1.
Okay. Next order of business is Board of Education update. Does anyone have an update?
I'll just share, if anybody saw the story, the Riverview kids drew the, what are these called, coffee holders? Sleeves, thank you, from 1922. So I stopped and got hot dirty chai today, and I have my decorated sleeve from one of our kids, so.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really
Which
cool.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay, so thank you for that. Next meeting announcement, it's listed on here as November 23rd. I don't think that meeting is going to happen, but notice would go out if it's not. And special board meeting November 24th at 5:30, special meeting November 25th, 5:30, policy committee meeting December 4th, 7:30 a.m., finance and personnel December 11th, 8 a.m., Board of Education meeting December 18th, and normally we would have buildings and grounds 2 days before, so December 16th, do we want to add that?
I did not know. We typically don't add a lot in December, but I wanted to add that.
Yeah, let's add it. I mean, we got a lot going on, and,
Sure.
I mean, if there's nothing to do, the last meeting was 20 minutes, so
Okay.
it would be December 16th for buildings and grounds,
7:30.
7:30 a.m., right? Okay, move to adjourn at 9:38 p.m. Can I get a second?
Second.
Can you call the roll?
Mr. Fischel,
Aye.
Mr. Keeney,
Aye.
Ms. Brewster, Mrs. Grassi,
Aye.
Ms. Krasinski.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay.
We're adjourned.